All right, check this out. Fox News is reporting that pro-Ukraine protests are breaking out exactly where Vice President J.D. Vance is visiting today. And I hate to be corny, but this is what democracy looks like. This is genuinely what democracy looks like in every sense, because people are allowing their voices to be heard. They are saying that J.D. Vance is now the #1 enemy in America. He's the most hated man in America because he is kind of a smug asshole for zero reason whatsoever to our ally. So protests are breaking out, and people have had their voices heard over the past few weeks in very unique ways. I mean, the great thing about America is, I know things have been grim for the past few weeks, but something that I like about America is that there are many avenues for your voice to be heard. Even if you are sick of social media and you want to put that down, you can go protest. But if you miss the protest, you can go to a community town hall, or you can vote in local or general elections. You can vote in federal elections. You can send emails. You can send FOIA requests. You can go and have a Ukrainian flag or whatever the hell flag you want, and you can have your voice heard. Then you can be on Fox News. For all of the flaws within America, this is what democracy looks like, and I've really enjoyed seeing Americans go to these town halls over the past week or two and call out their representatives and say, hey, you guys have got to stop ceding your own congressional power. You have the power of the purse. You have to stop ceding that to Elon Musk and to the executive branch. And look, people have been pushing back. It has been working. But before I play this clip of Fox News talking about the pro-Ukraine protests following Vance, check out Representative Garcia shredding Trump on Fox News, out of all places.
Very shameful display for all that to happen in the Oval Office, in front of the world and all of our allies who we need to stop Russia. And I think what honestly is most disgraceful is that throughout that conversation, that the president could not be clear that Putin is a danger to Europe, to Ukraine, and to the United States. Putin is an authoritarian dictator, and we need to call it like it is. And to embarrass Zelensky, who is taking Putin on right now, to belittle him, an ally, and our efforts in Ukraine. Let me just, I think it's a mistake.
Unacceptable. And of course, Garcia gets cut off while he's on Fox News. Look at Buttigieg predicted this months back as well.
That doesn't change the fact that supporting Ukraine is the right thing to do. And it's especially concerning that in J.D. Vance, you really could not have found a running mate more visibly aligned with the anti-Ukraine, more or less, side of the party.
Yeah, he's not just been isolated, he's been contemptuous of Ukraine.
Yes.
It's a different...
That's right.
It's a different emotional tone of it.
That's right.
And here's where we get to the main story. Now, for some reason, you know, I read this article about how J.D. Vance is awfully smug for somebody who built his career off of being somebody who just didn't like being talked down to, essentially. He wrote the book Hillbilly Elegy, which before his Trump era was actually a genuinely good, heartfelt book, and it was about how people are looked down on. People are talked down on if they live in the South, and now he's doing the same thing. The same exact thing to Zelensky, but this reads, after yesterday's meeting with Zelensky collapsed, J.D. Vance fled on vacation to Vermont, where hundreds of angry protesters were waiting for him. Now, J.D. Vance went to Vermont, and there were people standing with signs. People were there at the location he was going, but also lining the streets where J.D. Vance was driving. Vance skis in jeans. Vance is a traitor. Go ski in Russia. And it's because he's going on a ski holiday in Vermont. They're saying, yo, go ski in Russia, go ski in your motherland, because J.D. Vance was the primary instigator during that meeting yesterday. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of it was premeditated. I think it was a trap. But if J.D. Vance didn't really stir up the pot, it may not have gotten as bad as it truly got. J.D. Vance said a few times, number one, why are you litigating this in front of the media? After Vance and Trump had litigated in front of the media for months without Zelensky, then Vance says, have you even said thank you? How many times have you said thank you? It's this infantile game, like a mother scolding her child. Like, make sure you say thank you. Make sure you say thank you. I mean, we should be thanking Zelensky for giving us the information, for fighting this war against Russia for us. But let's check out Fox News playing this clip of J.D. Vance getting followed by pro-Ukraine protesters.
For Vice President J.D. Vance and his family following yesterday's fiasco there in the Oval Office with Ukrainian President Zelensky. There's some new video now we have showing the vice president being greeted by protesters holding anti-Vance pro-Ukraine signs as he makes his way there to Vermont for a ski resort vacation. More protesters met the Vance family outside of the resort, and the family ultimately had to move to an undisclosed location.
Very, very interesting. Being followed by protesters. That is what democracy looks like. Finally, I'm not even going to play this clip of Trump, but he keeps using this line. He also used this line right after the meeting where he says something to the effect of, I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved. First of all, the onus is on Putin for peace. He can just withdraw his troops. But then he says he feels like America's involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage. I want peace. For the dude that wrote The Art of the Deal, he doesn't understand what leverage is. I've explained this in multiple videos, but right now, Russia does largely have the leverage because they have a large army, they have the territory, they're the ones who can just stay there and continue the killing. So Zelensky needs leverage. The West, America in particular, gives Zelensky the leverage via security guarantees or via weapons to push back and negotiate. But Trump doesn't want to give that leverage, so he's causing his own fall. So he's the one who is essentially tanking Ukraine's leverage and then saying that he wants peace. And you have to understand, when somebody says, I want peace, I want the war to be over, they are essentially softly taking the pro-Russia position, even if they don't know it. Because by saying, I want peace, you are essentially trying to, you can say that and actually mean it. When Zelensky says, I want peace, he means it. But if somebody says, I want peace between both sides or something like that, you are taking the pro-Russia position. Because you're implying that peace comes from both sides taking some sort of action, or that Ukraine is just as at fault as Russia is, when that's not true. I've said it time and time again, Russia unilaterally waged this invasion into Ukraine's border, and Russia is the one that can end the war with the stroke of a pen. Vladimir Putin can make one phone call to his generals, to the Russian generals, and say, withdraw all of our troops, let's end the war, let's stop the fighting, and it would be over. There is not anywhere where Ukraine is instigating or antagonizing. There is not anywhere in international law where Ukraine is the one who can get invaded and then be at fault. That is just not how it works. So I don't know why Trump continues to repeat this line. He said in a video today, all of a sudden Zelensky's a big shot because he has the US on his side. Yeah, that's how negotiations work. The US gives Zelensky his primary negotiation leverage in the form of security guarantees. Then he says, either we end it or let him fight it out. And if he fights it out, it's not going to be pretty because without us, he doesn't win. Wow, real art of the deal master negotiator. We pull out our leverage so that Ukraine loses, so that Ukraine has no leverage. Like, he's just strong-arming Zelensky into a deal that only benefits Vladimir Putin. You know, I used to think some of those pro-Russia rumors were a little bit heavy-handed. The idea that Trump was bought off and there were P-tapes and Zelensky has all this dirt. I used to think they were a little bit far-fetched, but holy shit, the way Trump's been acting over the past week and over the past few days in particular really makes me wonder. But thankfully, we have people who have their voices being heard. Remember, whether it's through town halls, whether it's through protests like this, even social media activism. I know it sounds silly, but Republicans largely won an election because they flooded the X airwaves and the Instagram airwaves with social media stuff. So even by subscribing to the channel, by making sure you're pushing pro-Ukraine facts online, it all helps. It all helps. Make sure you're subscribed, you drop a like. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.